I'd like to call the November 1st meeting of the Police and Fire Commission to order. Start with roll call. Commissioner Schaaf.
Here.
Commissioner Boyle-Roloff.
Here.
Commissioner Kupke.
Present.
I'm Commissioner Goldhahn, and I expect Commissioner Wanazek to arrive. He hasn't arrived yet, but he should be here hopefully shortly. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I'll receive that in the mail. Any changes or questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schaaf.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Roloff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting is approved, the agenda is approved. Approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of October 4th, which included our interviews at that time. Those also were in your packet. There are no questions or changes. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Roloff. to
Second.
approve. Seconded by Commissioner Schaaf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. Informational, President's report, nothing new to report at this time. I'll turn it over to the chiefs. We'll start with Rob, since everything else is cops on the end of the meetings.
All right. Chief Litton unfortunately wasn't able to be here today. He's out at UWGB speaking to a civics class. So as we had discussed a little bit previously, some of you have seen that we will be not filling 4 positions in the budget for next year. So that's a big development. We're still kind of working through all that. Current recruits, the new hires from last year or this year, earlier this year, doing very well. Been getting very good reports from all the station captains on their performance so far. So
And how many do we have in there?
I don't remember exactly how many there were. And I'm trying to remember.
6.
Was it 6 of them?
And we have
I remember
positions
if it's
for
6 or
all.
8. Yep, yep. We just received the test results from the latest group of testing that went on at Fox Valley Tech. So we're sorting through those and focusing primarily on the people that were our interns or city residents. And I guess unless the commission has any concern about that, that's kind of where we're putting our focus. But that also brings up the question then, do we want to run a process off of this list, which we already paid to go through and get the testing done and have the results from that testing? Run the process, establish the list, but then make it a 2-year list? Or do we not do that and then go through the process again, which means we would have to pay again to go through that process through Fox Valley Tech? So that was a question that the chief had wanted me to bring forward to the commission.
If you make it a 2-year list, how would that impact people's lives pending?
Well, it really isn't necessarily going to impact what they can do. I mean, if they're testing other places and so on, they can continue to do that. What it potentially could impact is that we would not necessarily, the people that we might have at the top of that list might get hired before we could hire them. But, it's really a question of do we ultimately want to spend the money to go through the process again, or do we base it off money that we've already spent? But that really is probably the biggest impact, would be we just might not get the top people on the list. So that's kind of, I think our focus right now is just going through that list and making sure that we have the candidates, the quality candidates that we're looking for, which I'm certain that we do. So it really is a decision here, do we want to go through that and make that a 2-year list?
What is the expense? What would be
It's a couple $1,000s, I believe, to go through that.
1,500.
per person or for the whole?
No, the
For
whole.
the whole process.
And although you said you'd want to focus on the interns, there was nothing that would say if you had somebody that
Certainly.
did exceptionally well on that list, plus you look at their backgrounds, I think this
Yeah,
person
absolutely.
is somebody you definitely want to.
Yep, we look at them because, we've got some experience with them, but absolutely, nothing would preclude you from going outside that.
Any other thoughts or discussion? I would have no problem with doing that, since that particular request is not on the agenda, we'd have to put it
Yep.
on next month's agenda for a broad, open discussion and a vote on it.
Is
Sure.
that the way the chief and you are leaning to do it that way?
Yeah, I think so. I think it just makes sense, given that we have already received the results let's take the opportunity to go through and look at the list. You know, it's not a guarantee that everyone on that list at the top of that would be hired. So I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, and you know that feedback is very helpful. We can continue with our process, then make sure we get it on the next agenda for a formal vote and go from there. That's all I have.
Any questions?
Kind of unrelated, Station 7, how are we looking for the ambulance? Are they going to be able to staff that out on the east side, or?
Well, as it stands right now, that's one of the options that we're looking at. We're looking at several options. We haven't necessarily been able to work our way through all of them yet. So, you know, the 4 positions is definitely going to have some impact, and what that will be ultimately is going to be based on our data that we're sorting through right now.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, the record show Commissioner Wanazek has arrived. All right. Any other questions for Rob? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as an aside, the next meeting will probably not be on the regular time, because we have at least more conflict with one of the commissioners.
Okay.
We'll let you and Chief know.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
All right, Chief Smith.
Sir, so obviously busy with us with budget and all that other business. I'll start off with crime. Violent crime continues to trend down. We're still up 4% over last year, but you recall in the middle of the summer, we were up in the 20s, and it's now 4%, so I'm hoping we can knock that down to 0 by the end of the year. Overall crime is down 12%, which is really solid considering we were at 0 in August, so it's definitely headed in the right direction, and things have been, I don't want to say quiet because it's a word they tell me I'm not allowed to say, but things have been very quiet, you know, with the exception of the shooting we had the other night. As far as the shooting's concerned, that should be done, being investigated 45 days or so from now, I think, at the outset. The folks from DCI, it's the Division of Criminal Investigation from the DOJ who are doing it for us, told me 30 to 60 days. So I think that should be, I think they're going to be good to that timeline. As you know, whenever one of those shootings gets completed, it gets turned over to the district attorney's office, and he gets the opportunity to see if there's any charges he wants to file on anyone. Perfectly standard procedure. It goes over there. Then they'll come back to us, and we'll put together what's called a CURB analysis of it. It's a Critical Incident Review Board. I picked Jeremy Moravsky, Dave Perrell, Brad Florence, Brian Jordan, and whoever the union wants to be on that, to get together. And they'll look at everything that happened, and they'll compare what happened with what our policies and our procedures are, see if there's anything that doesn't match and what we need to do to rectify that if there is. So it is what it is. Both officers are doing okay. They're both back at work now. I anticipate Officer Warnicki will probably go back in the field on Monday. Officer O'Brien will keep inside the station for the duration of the investigation until we get to see what happened and get to the bottom of everything. But so far, it's kind of going along that same lines. There is going to be a protest tomorrow night out of the city deck. It's a candlelight vigil more than a protest, but candlelight vigil out there. Basically, the same time there's a candlelight vigil at the Jewish temple over here. So we've got 2 of them going at the same time. We're just we're low key in our looking at that. Probably have a couple officers assigned in the area, but nobody there to monitor it or anything. I don't think there's going to be any real issues with the candlelight vigil. I've been to many of them, and they don't really turn out to be broken windows and people throwing stuff. It's just people want to say what's on their mind. As far as the budget's concerned, we took a pretty big hit, I think, as a city in the budget this year. I think everybody did. What it means for us is since 93% of our budget is personnel costs, we can do nothing but lower our personnel. 1.1 million they've asked us to reduce over last year. That translates to 14 sworn officers. So there'll be 14 fewer sworn officers on average throughout the year. 194 down to 180. I'm going to lose a person from the front desk, I think, to taking a job someplace else. We won't be able to fill that. We are already down one. It's a records clerk, so we're probably not going to fill that. We went from 12 CSIs, which are civilian interns, down to 3. So, and I don't think we'll be able to fill any more than that. But the part that's gonna hurt the most is 14 sworn officers. Right now, we're down around 180 because of attrition and people leaving. We're gonna hire, it looks like we're gonna be able to hire 6 or so end of this month. That'll cover us for the 6 or 8 that are gonna retire at the end of this year. And then we'll hire again either December or January, and then maybe again later on in the year as we attrit some people out. I'm looking at about 10 people leaving in the next, in calendar year 2019. So we'll be able to hire to backfill those positions. So what we're seeing is going to be a really young department as all the older folks retire, and a really young and changed department with a lot of really new people. We did a check since I've been here. I think there was, and this is early summer, there were 34 people that were hired since I've been here. And I bet you that's going to be up to 54 by this time next year. So it's really a young department, which is good in a lot of ways because people are enthusiastic, but we lose a lot of that institutional knowledge and a lot of that those training officers that have a lot of wisdom over the years. So take the good with the bad. Other than that, things are going well. Doing fine.
Chief, the reduction to CSIs and records clerk, that's in addition to the 14, or would that help
Correct.
reduce the?
No, that's in addition to the 14. I think, we were down to 1 CSI for a minute there. We got 3 now. But Colton is one of our CSIs, and it's a nice track to have CSIs and have them move in. Now, maybe, at the council, they'll give us some more of those, or maybe we'll find a little bit of money where we're able to hire some more CSIs. But that's a great asset for us to have CSIs to do all those minor things that would otherwise tie cops up, because our cops are going to be busy this next year. What I'm doing to try and mitigate that is move as many people out from administrative positions and building assignments back out to the field. For instance, Beaker and Elvis, who are our 2 officers that work in at IFSU, it's a forensics, they're retiring in December. Those spots are all going to be civilianized, and we're going to have 2 more sworn officers for the field. So the 180 will feel like 182, and anytime we can bump someone out of patrol or out of the building and into patrol, it'll be a net gain for the patrol side. It'll just be more work for the folks that are inside. So, and that is pretty much it, I think, as far as us.
Any other questions for the chief? All right, thank you. Our next item is our regular business items. Consideration with possible action on the following the budget status report and the budget spreadsheet. Both of those are in the packet. As you see with the hiring, we have passed our budget items, but Melanie has assured us that there is more coming in to cover the rest of our recruiting needs. And then all of the spending has been relative to drug screens and physicals. Any questions or anything like that, folks? Now I'll entertain a motion to receive these and place on file.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Watazak,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? We'll receive those and place on file. Next, 2 items. Consideration with possible action on review of patrol officer candidate backgrounds and interviews with patrol officer candidates. The commission may convene in closed session pursuant.
Did you approve the bills?
Bills.
Number 2 under regular business?
I did not,
Missed
thank
that
you.
one.
Thank you.
He just jumped and pumped it all together.
Right.
Figured we didn't have any money. Thank you. The bills are in your packet, and again, those are relative to drug screens and physicals. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to authorize payment.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Schaaf,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pay the bills. Now we'll go with
There
the
you
next
go.
ones. This will be consideration with possible action on review of patrol officer candidate backgrounds and interviews with patrol officer candidates. The commission may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F Wisconsin statutes to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.85, paragraph 2 Wisconsin statutes to report the results of the closed session and to consider the balance of the agenda. Is there a motion to go into closed session for both these items. First one being review of background, second item being interviews.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wadsek,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in closed session.
My thing is thank you.
It's okay.
Okay, we're back in open session.
Yeah, it should be motion.
While in closed session, we reviewed, we have two closed session items. One, review background on patrol officer candidates, and two, we also interviewed 6 candidates. So the summary discussion from that, we removed 2 candidates from consideration because they had requested that, having taken jobs in other jurisdictions. There was 1 candidate that had insufficient credits to qualify, and 2 other candidates that we removed from the process through the background investigations. And we conducted interviews on 6 candidates, and we'll continue those 6 in the process. Is there a motion to solidify that in the record?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schaaf,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Kupke. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll do that. Next item is set the date of the next meeting. Warren has a conflict with the 6th of December, which would have been our regular meeting.
Are we gonna have interviews?
I was gonna say, any idea on interviews? Are we gonna have a request to do more interviews in December?
May?
We would have more.
Mhm.
Right now, probably about 4 that can easily be done by then, up to 6.
Okay. Would the preference be, like, move it a week earlier, November 29th, or December 13th? No, we can't, no, sorry, that's fine.
I prefer December, if there's a date.
You prefer December?
We could.
So if we want to stay Thursdays, we can move it to the 13th, or,
I have that hearing on the 14th, that's why we had to move that other hearing.
Okay.
So let me just check, I've got my
or the
office.
5th, or would Wednesday work for folks? Wednesday afternoon?
Say that.
Afternoon if it's done by 5:30.
What's the date?
That'd be great. I could
On December
combine
5th?
2 things.
December 5th? Okay.
If it's done by 5:30.
Okay.
What's December 5th look like? The whole week? The whole week? Yeah, that whole week's out for me.
Okay.
What about the 12th?
That's why I had to move it, I'm gonna be in California.
Okay.
So in the background,
That
chief.
that would make
We
the,
could all come to you.
would the 13th work then?
Yeah, if it's before 5:30. Okay.
Okay.
What was the date?
13th.
Thursday, the 13th?
Thursday the 13th.
What time would we start, 1 o'clock?
Possibly.
Probably if they have interviews.
Because I would have to leave at
Right in
3.
the afternoon.
So I can be here from 1 to 3 on the 13th, if that helps.
Okay.
Actually, I have to.
Yeah, what about in the afternoon, 1 o'clock? Just pencil it and write 1 o'clock.
We don't know yet.
4. Are we going with the 13th?
No.
Oh, it's not working?
You could maybe also do interviews at the beginning
Hang on.
and do the rest of the normal agenda
We can
items
do 1 to
afterwards.
3.
and then- Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, let's try to just do that.
Okay.
1
Then
p.m.
you wrote
13th.
in pencil.
Yeah, now we're on, back to the 13th.
The 13th?
1 o'clock.
The afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
we'll
if it started
one
at
to
8.
finish first.
It'd be 3:30.
And I'll do it like that. Thank you for covering that. Okay.
Okay. All right, so the 13th at 1 o'clock. There are no public hearings. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wozniak,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Schaaf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Okay. I'll get back to you
Thank
next
you
week.
all.
Okay, let me know and we'll pick a time to do there.